I need it all. I need therapy. I need God. I need, counselors. I need, good friends, a good village. I do it all.
So now, welcome to the Hey Now podcast, a conversation with a bunch of nobodies. We're going to do something different today. Tonight, don't know what time is it by now. We should have started a long time ago, but
thanks to Shaq and Beloved.
Thanks to Beloved, and his rants. We're here. But we're here.
I'm glad we're back. We took a week off.
Big facts.
I'm glad to be around my brotherhood, my tribe. And we're going to have a very interesting conversation and unpack some things about the mind, the spirit, the soul. So I'm looking forward to it.
And the heart.
And the heart.
And if you cry, it's all right because men cry. And at the end of the day...
Not real niggas, though.
Well, I'm a man.
What? I'm a man.
I'm a man before I'm a real nigga.
I need a word to say every time something weird.
Oh, yeah, you got it. You got it. Right there.
Every time somebody says something sexist or
yeah, you don't prove. Go ahead. You allowed to ring that bell.
Or like
toxic
masculinity comes in.
Ring that bell.
You said toxic masculinity?
Yes.
Masculinity is toxic.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, I don't want to butcher the last name.
Bergamasco.
I want you to see
the full government.
Anabella Bergamsco.
MD.
No.
Not yet.
LMSW.
Yeah.
Psychotherapist.
LMSW.
Yes. Licensed Master Social Worker.
Okay.
So you can call me
you're a master in your craft. Okay.
Hold up. Listen. My people, we've been through 700 years of slavery. I will not call nobody a master.
Okay, fair. Alright.
Okay.
Fair.
It was 400 something, but then...
I'm Dominican. I don't know.
Yo, first off, I want to start off the show. We gonna get into like some real discussion, some real conversations. But first off, I want to shout out my boy Adrian Broner.
Trash.
On God and them, Manny Pacquiao, January 19th or something like that. Gabby, I know you hating, and I can't wait till he wins. We gonna bet on it.
You want to bet a dinner?
Yeah, we could bet a dinner. We could do that. Y'all heard it here first. On God in them, and I don't even know who in them is. It's going down.
You know who Adrian Broner is?
Don't worry, I'll send you some YouTube clips of everything.
The corniest boxer to ever live.
He's the best boxer.
No, that's too violent for me. I can't do boxing. I can't watch
It's violent.
They're beating each other up.
They're beating each other up.
Thank you.
I told you I was sensitive.
Pound it.
I told you I was sensitive.
It is a violent sport.
I'm sensitive.
It's a form of therapy.
My heart is real weak.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you something, even though this is kind of like, I'm jumping ahead. Since we spoke about boxing, do you feel that in order for you to play like any kind of like physical, like contact sport, you gotta be a little, how can I say this? What's the word I'm looking for? Not off, but you kind of like inflicting pain on others in a sense.
Aggressive?
Yeah.
Maybe a little aggressive, yeah.
It's straightforward.
Okay.
But you're asking, do you have to be a little...
Yeah, cause like, all right, so I went to a hockey school, right? And I noticed the ones who was usually the bruisers were a little,
Rough.
a little out there.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the NCAA taking
Edgy.
advantage of
They're a bit edgy.
mental health kids right there. That's what that is.
Yeah, the ones that are like extremely like.
They're a bit edgy.
They're a little bit edgy,
Yeah, so they don't know when to stop.
Yeah. So that makes it like perfect for them. Like you have those that play football, and those that I like to hurt that person with the ball.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
They might be taking out some anger that they have towards other people in their life, and they might be putting it on the field or whatever it is. Yeah. So you're talking about maybe an amount of anger that, might not be healthy, but they're finding a way to let it out, unfortunately, on other people. So, they might benefit from talking about that.
They might benefit from talking about that. I bet they do.
If they don't know when to stop.
Since we're in this field, I wanted to ask you, do you feel that athletes, since they go through obviously a lot of pressure,
Yeah.
They get pressure from the GM. They get pressure from the fans. You know, they get pressure. You know, while they're at home as well. So do you feel that them going to see somebody just to like talk about that situation, do you think that it could better off the athletes?
Absolutely. I mean, I imagine that they're out there playing, but they have, like you said, all these other things going on in their lives, right? They might have relationships, they have, maybe they're stressed about money, whatever it is. And I'm sure that that gets in the way of them focusing on the game. So, and if it's heavy, and if you have somebody every week that you're going to kind of unpack it, to process it, then yeah, it's going to be lighter, and then you can focus more on what you want to focus on.
Man, I'm talking about,
Listen,
I'm talking about in general, can an athlete benefit from therapy? What are you talking about?
Well,
Do you know his life? Do you know why he's literate?
Yeah,
Do you know why he has his issues? You don't. So just
I do know.
You know, before you jump into something, I think there's something real interesting that you brought up. You know, like, do you know about?
Interesting.
I wasn't talking about you.
Oh, all right, my bad.
Yeah. I was not talking about you.
No, I had a point out here, man.
And you had mentioned, you know, like, you really don't know his upbringing or what he went through, you know, and I think that's something that people tend, you know, to judge people so fast without knowing, like, taking the time out to figure out, hey, like, what did this person actually go through? Like, what made them, what triggered, you know, that to happen? So.
Yeah.
I feel that
I agree
the
with
way
you
he
on that.
acts is just he wants to be like Floyd Mayweather. I don't think it's something he went through. I don't
Can
think
you
it's
stop
nothing.
talking?
He's
Can you
ambitious.
stop talking about AB?
No, he's
He's
ignorant.
ambitious.
He is.
He's
Okay,
not
so
ambitious. He's ignorant.
Can I jump?
There's a difference.
He knows in this time.
He knows how to sell.
That sells.
He knows how to sell.
He's ignorant.
That
He
sells.
sells. Let's get to it. So, let's get to what we wanted to discuss. And it's kind of like therapy, mental health within, you know, the blacks, the Latinos, you know, within the minority community. The stigma that you going to somebody or seeking help makes you weak. That going to therapy is just something that women do, you know, when in reality, I'm actually kind of like a product of therapy as well. You know, did it twice when my parents split up, and then after the whole, I had a head injury, so I went to therapy for that trauma, that situation. But yeah, so
I've been
why do
too,
you
but-
feel that there's? Oh, you have?
Yeah. I'm in
Yeah.
therapy now. Therapists need therapy.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. That's how does that work? Cause what do you feel like because you're a therapist, like you know what's wrong with you or what?
Oh, no. The last one to know about the water is the fish. And that's
Yeah,
why therapy
that's
is
a bar.
helpful.
That's a bar.
That's fire.
Don't quote me on that. Was somebody else who said it, but I don't know.
No cap.
Damn, man, I like
No.
That was cool.
yeah.
That was cool. I felt that one right there. I
That's like
said,
some
"Ooh,
proverb,
damn, the
I don't
water
know what it is,
thirsty."
but it's good, right?
Think of the fish.
Listen,
Yeah, I like that.
because so a therapist, you know, the idea is somebody with a different perspective that's listening in a different way can help you look at things in a different way. So, and they might, yeah, you just like make connections that you might not make by yourself when you're walking down the street and you're talking to yourself, like you were saying earlier, which is helpful. Like it's important to sit alone and think about things, like journal, whatever. But if you're doing it with a professional or even with somebody else, let's say you can't afford it or whatever happens, talking to a friend and venting and hearing it from their perspective can be really helpful in a way that talking to yourself won't be. So yeah, I go to therapy because I need somebody else. Because I have my blind spots. We all do.
You need to see it from someone else's perspective,
Blind
basically.
spots.
So
Everybody
what?
has their
That's
blind
hard.
spots.
That's hard.
That's hard right there.
That's hard. We all got our blind spots.
That's
you.
you.
That's not
Yeah, I'm telling
Oh,
you.
yo, that was a freestyle right there. The whole feel.
I can tell you, that's gonna be a T-shirt on the
Damn, that shit called.
So why do you feel that some, I don't know, some men feel that way? that going to therapy is something that maybe won't work, that why would I go sit down with somebody, with a complete stranger, and just tell them what I'm going through? Like,
because what is, I mean, I imagine that the thought process can be, what are they going to tell me about myself that I don't know about myself? But we just made that point, so that's, we already spoke about that. But the masculinity, the idea that, no, I have my feelings, but I'm just going to bottle it up. I can deal with it by myself. That's the toxic masculinity that has, like, infiltrated men's minds, and they think that it's not okay to have feelings, to talk about them openly. So that makes men think, or a lot of people, that having feelings is a weakness.
So what if you just feel like you're getting therapy in another form? Like we were talking about boxing. So what if you feel like, you know, like I'm going through trauma or whatever, but I'm going to the gym and I'm hitting the bag. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking my mind off of it. Like what about
okay,
what about
and there's
those?
a place for that, and that can be great, but taking your
that,
mind off.
I'm sorry, is that kind of like putting like a band-aid to it?
Yeah, it can be.
That's what you had told me.
And it can be
That's
helpful
great.
because, listen, exercise, it helps regulate moods. Like, it's all really good for you. It's a place to have mastery over something. But to have mastery and understanding of your emotions and what's going on, there's nothing like that. Because the thing what happens is when people get overwhelmed with what they're feeling, it can be because they're feeling a bunch of things at once. They might not know exactly what it is, so they can't name it. So going to therapy kind of forces you to get mastery because you're naming your feelings and you're understanding where they're coming from. Like, why did this trigger me? Why did I get so mad that I wanted to punch a wall? You talk about it in therapy and you understand, oh, that one thing that person said, damn, that took me back to something else somebody said when I was like 8 years old, and it stuck with me. So you get to process what that was like when somebody said, nah, you're never going to be anything. Or, see, you never do anything right. That hurts, right? That stays lodged. It's like a splinter. It gets lodged in there.
Yeah.
So that at another point, somebody else says something. They might not have even meant it like that. But it triggers you back to what that original pain was.
Also, it's not the wall's fault.
It's not what?
It's not the wall's fault either.
And it's not the wall's fault.
It's definitely not
Thank
the
you.
wall's
Because
fault.
also, you might be taking it out on another person.
Thinking that
Let's
the
say
wall
you're
is
dating.
the person.
You're dating, right? You're dating somebody. And they say something that sounds like what a very critical parent, coach, whatever it was that hurt you.
Takes you back.
What are you going to do? You might get mad at your girl in a way that, like, first of all, she doesn't deserve that amount of anger.
Also, yeah.
You're taking it out in a way that's uncomfortable for both of you because then you feel guilty after.
She
So,
had
like,
no
therapy
fault to
can
it
be a
either.
place for you to talk about, because you may not be ready to talk to your girl about all this stuff.
Right.
But a therapist is somebody to go to. You process it, you understand it, you figure out a way that, okay, you can make space for those feelings, because feelings are not bad. Emotions, we all have all the emotions, they're not bad. Having anger, being angry, is not in and of itself bad. The way we communicate it can be hurtful. It can leave a hole in the wall. It can get you arrested. All these things, right?
Yeah.
But having it is not the problem. But that's why people don't want to go to therapy. They might think that, like, nah, I'm too angry, then they're going to find out how angry I am.
Or I'm too ashamed and I don't want them
I'm
to
too
know all
ashamed.
this. Yeah.
I'm sad, and I was told I couldn't be sad when I was young.
Yeah.
Because I had to be the
It
strong
wasn't,
one in
yeah.
my family.
Exactly.
And that's pressure.
So,
That's
Mad pressure.
so some of us, like therapy wise, we don't like go see somebody, but we use something. Is that like good? I like smoking weed when I'm stressed.
Nah, it's not too good. If you're reaching for weed, drink, and you're reaching for it for anything other than I want to celebrate, I'm happy, this is good, then there might be something you want to unpack. I want to say, by the way, I'm no angel. I drink, whatever. I'm human too. But we know when we're reaching for that drink because we're upset or we had a long day,
Right.
whatever.
That's deep. You said I had a friend from back home. Shout out to Vlad. He said I try to be mindful No, we was hanging out
All
in
right,
LA.
that's not.
No,
that's
I
not
wanna
why
hear it.
we're
Go ahead,
out.
go
Because they always have
Yo,
sound
yo,
effects,
can
right?
you
But
can
just
you,
keep going. You
Okay.
know we got sound
Turn the
effects.
sound.
Okay. He said to me when we was hanging out recently, I make it a point not to drink when I'm sad
There
or
you
upset.
There you go.
And I was just like,
Thank
that's a
you.
nugget I need to
Yes.
Process and
process.
But
and take in. Yeah.
But I smoke whether I'm happy or sad. I don't really even.
You don't discriminate.
Yeah, I don't really care. If I feel like I want to smoke,
It
So
just
it's
makes
not-
it just
it's
makes
not-
the sad
More
time
power to
feel
you, bro.
better.
yeah, you feel me? It's not that
It's
I'm
something you
sad,
do
so oh
regularly.
shit, I'm
Give me
gonna go
some
smoke.
balance.
I smoke anyway, you feel me? So it's like if I'm happy, I'm gonna smoke. If I'm sad, I'm gonna smoke regardless.
Okay, so it's become a habit and
But in the
you become
nighttime.
mindless about it.
In the nighttime though,
So you might
because
just.
I work in the
In the
daytime.
night.
Uh-huh.
But let's get
You know
back
what I'm
to
saying?
So
But,
is-
like,
so
we
is that
wanna,
bad?
the whole thing, it could be because you're not understanding why you're reaching for it.
I'm reaching
So
for
the
it
whole
because
point
I'm-
of therapy, consciousness, right? The understanding that if we're aware of why we're reacting the ways that we're reacting, what hurt us, how we could like move forward, that's being conscious and aware of what triggered us, what hurt us, whatever, healing. So if you're automatically always reaching for things that numb you, because that's what they do, and that's why they feel good, right? Is because we don't feel the stress that we felt at
That
2
moment.
p.m. on a Tuesday,
still
on a
feels
Friday
good.
night, when you're drinking alcohol. It feels good, right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you, but honestly, like if I drink,
I get totally what she's like.
Yeah.
you know, I understand what she's saying, but like when like if I smoke, I feel the same like no matter what. Like it don't really like change me. I just be
Like,
stuck and relaxing in my bed watching TV.
Relaxing. You just said it does change you. It makes you relax.
But I relax regardless. I'm just lazy as shit, so I'm relaxing all the time. When I'm sober.
Okay.
Misha, so what you wanted to go back to something?
Yeah, I want like the ashamed person. How do they get over that hump? If I went through some trauma that I'm ashamed of, like to the point that I don't even want to really talk about it, how do I now come to now say I want
To a stranger.
Yeah, seek therapy from a
Yeah.
stranger and now get over that.
And unshame this feeling.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like
That's a fair question. But sometimes the pain is so great that people they just can't sit with it anymore.
Mhm.
It's heavy.
See, the thing about it's not
It's
everybody's
when
the
it's
same,
crushing
bro.
you, when it's
Right.
heavy. And I want to say, can I also, the way you said that was interesting. When you're the shamed person. So we're all people with all the feelings. We are people and we feel shame. Every one of us in this room has felt shame, has felt anger, sadness. So
Thanks.
we wanna, the way we say things is really important. So if we understand that we have the feeling, it doesn't make who we are.
right.
It doesn't overpower all that we are as a person, because we're whole people. Because the issue with like that, talking like that sometimes can be that people start to think, oh no, I'm an angry person. I can't be anything more than that. But you
Yeah.
can. You're
Yep.
a whole person
Right.
who sometimes gets angry,
Right.
and we can work together to understand what gets you angry.
It's yeah. When we say you're the shame person or you're the angry person, it's not that that's the person you are. That's what we're working on. We're talking about the problematic part of,
Right, but
of
the
what's
thing
going
is,
on.
yeah, but we're also talking about the other feelings that are attached to everything, because it's not just, a lot of times behind a lot of anger is just pain. Anger is like pain flipped on its back.
Is it bad to like
So if you like,
not care about a lot of stuff? Cause like I really don't get sad. Like sad, I get upset and mad, but sad, I don't think I care enough about things to.
Are
get
those
sad
emotions
about.
cousins?
Which emotion?
Being
Anger,
sad, being
sadness.
being angry.
And I
Not
really
It's
don't.
interesting. That's an interesting
I
question.
really
like, how
don't
do
get
we relate
sad.
to each
Like
other?
I really
Yeah, I
don't
don't-
care
Yo,
about.
are you human?
Yeah, I mean, but he'll
Do
tell
you
you.
just
I
get
think that
I don't
I
get
always
sad.
believed that
Sad?
that was a defense mechanism
Fair.
for him, not to care.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I
Very
have
interesting.
really
I'm glad you
believed
bring
that.
that up. Defense
I
mechanism.
agree with you
all-
1,000%. That's
But I
what he
really,
is.
I believe
A
he
lot of
does
stuff
care.
he does.
You know, I believe he does care.
Yeah.
But He don't want you to know
That's
that he
masculinity.
Yeah.
That's the toxic masculinity telling us that. Well, I was using this when something was messed up.
You
But
was
yeah,
right.
yeah,
You
yeah.
was right on.
That's
100%.
definitely it's the message we get that we
Shout out to
shouldn't
Gabby's
care
brother
'cause
too.
Yep.
not caring is cool, right?
That's not why I do it though, because it's cool or not cool. I don't.
I'm not saying it is, but that's a message we hear out there.
Yeah, I feel like I just really don't care. Like, and I try not to get too close to people. So like, if something happens to somebody, I'm not over here like sad and crying.
Yeah, because you
and
stay.
weeping.
You're
That's
protected.
Why?
Let's unpack that. Let's unpack that. Let's unpack that.
Would it be bad if you were?
No, but I just rather not have to go through it.
Facts.
It's gonna follow you though. So whatever. All right. Here's another quote. It wasn't me.
Nah,
What
we
we
don't want
resist,
that, man.
what we resist persists. If you wanna drink
Whoa,
it away,
Hallelujah.
if you wanna drink it away, you wanna smoke it away, you wanna say I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. First of all, the more you say you don't care, you care.
Yeah.
But
So,
how
also-
about you really don't care though?
Right,
Like, it's
right,
possible
right.
to really
Nah,
not
really
care.
though, really
It's true though.
Then it wouldn't be on your mind.
It's
Yeah.
that something brings it up and you think about, but I just
Okay, then
feel
you don't care,
I
that's
just
fine.
feel that there's a lot of things that people like other people care about that I really wouldn't care. Like if somebody says something about me, there's people that, oh my God, they said that. I really could care less what anybody say about me.
Okay.
Everybody's different when it goes into that perspective, you know.
But that's the thing though, not everybody's the same.
Yeah,
Everyone's
everybody have a
different.
different
We all humans,
perspective,
but we
you
all
know?
different human beings, and
everybody
we
went
all
through
hit different emotions. You may not care, but this person will.
And
She
also
will.
going back to what you were saying, a lot plays out, you know, kind of like how what you seen coming up. You know I saw a lot of trauma coming up. I saw some shit. So I definitely, you know, and I go about things differently, you know, but that's because of the experiences that I had. So
See, that's another thing.
Let's
I
talk
ain't never
about
been
that.
through crazy experiences, crazy. You see, my brother, he's been through way more than me.
And that's
I
why he
will-
defends himself.
I
To
really,
know, he knows, he sees me, and he sees what me and my sister gone through and what other people gone through, right? And he sees that we show a lot of emotion towards those things. Like, it still affects us certain things, you feel me? And he didn't have to deal directly with that.
Me and my pops, right? We haven't had the greatest relationship, but one thing that I always admired about him, that he was willing to do whatever it took to provide for the family. And when we would talk growing up, he would say, yo, when you're a man, you have to make sure the women in your family are provided for and protected.
It's a lot of pressure.
So when you tell me about,
thank God I was raised by my father.
I'm going to be honest with you, like, if I feel like I can't help my mom, or if I can't help my sister, or one of my cousins, I'm going to feel worthless.
Yeah.
Like, yo, what are you
Yeah.
good for if you can't provide? Or even like, let's say, we just met today. We were hanging out outside, just talking. I feel like if something happens to you while one of us is present, we're responsible.
Exactly, and that's a lot of pressure. And what happens when there's a situation that there's literally nothing you can control, but there's a lot of guilt that you might end up
No,
having
I would feel
over it.
responsible, you know, because it's like, okay,
Right.
a woman is in our presence. Nothing
Right.
should
It was your
have.
job to keep her safe.
Nothing
You
should have
didn't.
happened
And that's
to
a lot
her.
of guilt, and guilt is heavy. Guilt is
Like that's how I feel.
another
I feel
feeling
like it got stacked on. Like right, that pressure is a natural pressure that I feel like a guy should have. Like there's nothing wrong with that because you know you're built different than a woman. So right, if a goddamn horse starts running down the street and is running at her, you should feel like, all right, I should be able to, you know, punch this horse in the throat or something. I don't know.
Heard you. That shit gonna kick you.
I was talking
just-
about money. If
I'm
if
just
a horse
throwing-
trying to hit my shorty, I'm jumping in the way.
Yo,
that's
who's
for
been
sure.
trained in fighting horses?
Who the hell bites horses?
But to Gabby's point, to even discuss,
I'm sorry if
to
you
even
feel
discuss
you should
money-
be ready to fight a horse. That's
right?
not fair.
Like,
that's
a lot of pressure.
toxic masculinity.
Yo, that's a lot of pressure,
I'm not a
right?
horse.
Yeah.
I gotta stand there
All right,
and fight a horse.
all right. there's certain natural pressures that a guy has, and then it stacks on. Like then the financial pressures come, and that's what I'm saying. But you can't.
So all these things are a lot of pressures, and it's hard. So so you can have a place to talk about how much pressure you feel because you have to pay all the bills on time. If she doesn't work, let's say that your wife is, you know, taking care of the kids at home, because childcare is crazy expensive.
It's big.
I forgot what we got to.
I want to save it for that.
There you go, yeah.
You know,
It's
10 and 5.
expensive.
10 and 5.
I think with the crying, it comes from childhood because we get told, stop crying like a little girl.
Yes, exactly.
You feel me?
So
from
Yes,
little,
we have gender
we get-
expectations from like early.
And also, for me, I'm learning that we also get programmed a lot. You know, when we're young. So I totally agree with you because I felt that for a long time. You know that I used to cry. My father would be like, "What the hell you crying for?" So I'd be like, "You shouldn't cry." You know.
Yeah.
But men don't cry.
And then so their
You know?
shame develops around being sad, or shame will develop around having whatever other feelings.
But there's a
That's
reason your
the
father
stigma.
did that, though. That also, it also taught you because if you grew up, right, and this is and I don't know. Let's just talk about this, right? The average boy, right? If you grew up in the school feeling like crying was okay, you would have probably grew up a different kind of way. If a bully bullied you and you just felt like crying was okay and you cried in class, things would have probably been different for you. Right now, you know what I'm saying? Like if you felt like if you didn't have that masculinity instilled in you at a young age, like certain things, you know what I'm saying, you might have not overcame.
I don't think as far as my father. I don't think my father installed that type of. No, I wouldn't.
I think our environment is still that.
I think my environment installed that. The society, but as far as like my father installing that masculine.
I'm just saying, like when you say like, oh, you crying, like don't cry, and just like people saying like, you know, I mean, I say a lot of things are impressed on us as a kid that are wrong. You know, even with the colors, like when you're a boy is blue, and like lighter colors will just seem to be feminine colors, and darker colors seem to be masculine colors. Like I don't agree with that, even though that's how the world is. You know what I'm saying? Like, but who made that up?
But we need a better world. We all got to work towards a better world, and that means a world where someone doesn't feel like they have to give in to all these pressures. That they're doing things because they want to do it. That a little girl wants to be a scientist and she doesn't have to, you know, do whatever the gender expectations are for women. She doesn't have to focus all day on her makeup. If she wants to go study math, she can go do that. And that's the better world we all want to work towards, right?
That is.
So that is
that's
going to
a fact.
require us to challenge and pick apart and shed light on where all these pressures are coming from. And one of them is, you know, these gender expectations, toxic masculinity.
But let me ask you something. So you mentioned gender expectations. In 2018, as a woman who's educated, professional, forward-thinking, are you comfortable functioning in a household where you're the breadwinner?
Yeah, if that's going to be what's best for the kids. If I'm gonna make more money, if the numbers are gonna make sense, why not? Why would I not be comfortable? The understanding is that I've chosen a partner that's gonna be a good father, right? I'm not gonna worry about
The
that.
responsibility
Right.
to be equivalent to the financial.
So it's either way. Like it wouldn't turn me off if a man said I want to be a stay-at-home dad. I'd be like, oh man, he wants to be with the kids. Like that happens a lot. Is like the dad is out working so much that like the kids, you know, miss their dad, and they experience it and they internalize it as, man, he didn't want to come back home to be with us. When the reality might have been he had to work all day.
Shout out to those dads who actually are fathers, though, also. Who are actually, you know,
Gabby.
Yeah, shout out to
Gabby too, man. Word.
It's still coaching the kids. Still coaching the
And
kids.
shout out to my brother.
Yeah,
Shout
shout out
out
to
to your brother.
So now I wanted to ask you,
Those more Henny in it?
how would somebody feel No. What do you tell somebody that don't?
There you go, bro. You go.
That don't feel that therapy might suit them because they don't think that therapist is really there for their benefit. They're just there kind of like for a paycheck. You know, like what do you kind of like?
Well,
because that could, some people could be like, no, they really don't care. They really don't want to see, you know.
yeah. I mean, people can shop around for a therapist, so it really is about the fit. Like, you have to be comfortable with this person. And if, for whatever reason, let's say the ideal situation is that you talk to your therapist about what makes you uncomfortable. But let's say that you can't, go find another one. Because not all therapists are the same. And it's okay to, like, it shouldn't be torture. You shouldn't go to someone that you feel like is judging you. So there's another therapist out there that, you know, it might be a better fit between the two of you. So.
But if you're a therapist, isn't your job not to judge somebody? Or isn't your job to help somebody?
Yeah.
But I guess there is some therapists that judge.
But I wouldn't say judge. There's some therapists that don't do their job maybe to the fullest. Like,
or in a way that suits you. So like they might have an approach, you know, or a certain life experience or whatever it is that
might be
they can't serve you.
Well, but I believe that's also the patient.
That's something to talk
what the fuck are you
I believe the patient, if
I go to therapy,
I think the patient, if the patient's a weirdo,
and my therapist is attractive, I'm not talking about what I was really talking about.
If my therapist is attractive, I'm sitting down and I'm telling her everything.
Me too.
Everything.
Nah.
I can have a conversation.
I like looking at you. I'm gonna even
I'm gonna open up more to you.
I'm be like, yo, this shit is so hard. Like, I swear to God, you look so good, but goddamn, I don't know what to do. Oh, I didn't even know the mic was there.
Okay, so if you're having some kind of attraction like that, you could also talk to them about that and you could unpack it. And then if it gets in the way, then yeah, it's not going to benefit you to be distracted and to, like, it's just distracting.
That's like when I was young and
but
I
you
had
could talk
tutors.
about it.
I used to tell my father, can you get me like a pretty girl as a tutor? I swear I'll focus more. But he was
with a heart on.
No.
Definitely not.
I was 12 years old. I'm not thinking about
the reason why I totally agree with Gabby is because for me, as far as like book wise, I would learn better from a girl.
From attractive teachers.
If I was 12 and she was
it has nothing to do with
teach me, I'll focus.
It has nothing to do with being sexual or anything.
Not right now. I'm too old for that bullshit, bro.
I don't know. I just concentrate.
So shout out to Professor Pilgrim over at UMass. So
she had the cake.
Respectfully, Professor Pilgrim, Dr.
Yo, ring the bell for him. I know you want to ring the bell for him. He's
when I was at UMass, I used to stay cutting class, coming in 35 minutes late when the class is like 50 minutes. Anytime Professor Pilgrim was teaching a class, I'm there on time. I'm not missing class. Yo, it had an effect on me.
It makes it.
It had an effect on me.
All my attractive teachers, I wanted to be impressive.
And then I ended up graduating in Africana Studies major. Thank you for Professor
I have a question. All right, it's my turn.
Yeah, she did.
Have you ever had a client?
From an intellectual perspective.
All right. Yeah. Have you ever had a client attracted to you that you have to be like, whoa, sir, like, chill.
Like come in here with gray sweatpants.
Client patient privilege.
Fam, it's my turn.
Client
it's my turn. It's my turn.
She can't answer that.
But she don't say no names or nothing. Relax. Let her answer.
Okay, go ahead, bro.
There's 7 people talking.
Yeah.
There's only 5 of us.
No. She just answered the questions and none of y'all called it because y'all talking.
And you know what? I understand that might happen because it's somebody that you're talking to and you're being open with.
Sorry.
You're talking about your feelings, like there's emotional intimacy, and so that for some people that is something that is gonna, you know, they're gonna find attractive. So it has happened, and I've had to, you know, talk about it with them, let them remind them what we're there for, what kind of relationship this is. It's a professional relationship. We can talk about the feelings that come up within the therapy, and that could be helpful for them. So yeah, it's been necessary to bring that up.
So if somebody wanted to go into therapy or wanted to try a therapist, where would you advise them kind of like to go? Where would they be able to get in contact with somebody?
I'm sure she will pick herself, right? If you have to tell somebody about therapy, what do you invite them like to where you do therapy at?
If it's convenient for them, we take insurance if they have insurance.
You gotta have medical.
It can't be too out of the way. I'm all the way in Brooklyn. Like, don't make it hard for me.
Because there's therapists everywhere, but at the same time, somebody might like the way you understand them, the way you talk to them, like the way how the whole thing goes. Like, it's an hour. They might really like to go to Brooklyn for that hour instead of staying in Manhattan.
And that's great. But you know, a lot of therapists are this way. Like, they're trained to listen. They're trained to understand. So it doesn't have to be me. You can go. So that's a good question. So you can, let's say you're under 26. Maybe you're under your parents' insurance. So the insurance has, if you call them and find out like what kind of mental health services they cover, how many per year, they might also have providers that accept that insurance. So you can go to your insurance and ask like who's covered. There's also,
That's
if
what
you're
I
in
like about
school.
My job, they like I work for FedEx Express. So if anything happens and we need therapy or if we're going through something,
You got insurance.
Yeah, they help
That's
us.
great. Listen, you're paying for it. Your job is taking money out of your paycheck to pay for your insurance, for your health.
Exactly.
So go and get it.
I have, when I was going to one, they said I had anxiety. I went back, then they said I ain't have anxiety. I mean, I know I have anxiety, but don't tell me now. After a week, I don't have it anymore, you know? After that, I knew it was bullshit, so I stopped going to them.
I think I want
I went to therapy and I said, and you know what they told me? I forgot. Let's check it.
Alright, wait. I wanted to make a few points though.
Go.
Please.
Therapyforblackgirls.com. So if you're a man, you could check that too, because obviously a therapist is not going to say, oh, I only do therapy for women. But I want to shout them out because it's, an understanding that a professional who is either a minority, is black, is Latino, whatever, Latinx, they might have a little bit more sensitivity or understanding of how racial microaggressions and just racism might affect you. I'm not saying that, I'm a white Latina. I can understand what that experience is for other people to a degree, because as a woman, I might experience sexism, but that's a good website to go if you are a man of color or a woman of color.
I have a female in my family that I think she really needs therapy, and I think you will work for her. She's 13 though.
Okay, yeah, I love working with teenagers.
But she like really needs it, and I'm gonna see if I talk to her mom.
I think after the show we could, talk about this, see how we can make that connection happen.
That's a fact. That's definitely.
Oh, you said you're Dominican. Actually, so there's latinxtherapy.com/therapists. So that's also Latino therapist. So they might speak Spanish, so if you know somebody that doesn't speak English.
No, pero es que tú sabes que tú estás bien, porque si la vaina viene por ahí y se va por allá.
Exactamente.
Ya
Mira,
tú
I
sabes.
work with a lot of people in Spanish whenever. That's the thing. So I had to get used to all the different accents.
Yeah.
They taught me some.
Shaq got a question, I think.
Hey, Shaq.
No, I wanted her to get through all her T's and everything about mental health, because my question is, does she think everybody needs to seek therapy?
Everybody could benefit from therapy at one point or another. Like, it's just part of the human experience to have some questions about what am I doing, where am I going, what means a lot to me, what are my values.
It's like saying everybody should be getting tested for AIDS. Obviously, you're supposed to be doing that every year. You're supposed to do that every other month.
So do you feel like somebody can
Shit, I do. I don't know about everyone else.
medicate themselves?
Oh my God, please, thank you.
Without a therapist, without speaking to somebody else?
Just say that you medicate.
Nah,
Because
that
I
takes
know
us
what's
back
wrong
to
with
the
me, and I know
beginning.
how to handle it.
That takes it back to Gabby's and the whole marijuana thing.
No, but like I don't abuse myself with marijuana because
No,
I don't either.
I don't even think that's possible.
But it's
At the end of the day, to
going
go to
back-
sleep, do you have to smoke?
But it's going back to what you was talking
Nah.
about.
Lying.
I go to
You're
sleep if
still
I'm tired.
using it as an escape in a sense.
But I don't think any drugs or anything that I take has anything to do with like the trauma or anything that
So
I've
you had it.
been
So
through.
you should go to therapy.
That's what I'm saying. But I know
why
like if I was to go to therapy,
In
like I
college.
would literally be telling the therapist like everything, like and they'll be like, yeah, that's exactly
You know what's
right.
crazy?
Like,
That they say that
like,
now, and when they get to that
Nah.
couch, they freeze. People
Nah,
like
they're
that, that's
bugging.
what they do.
Bro, y'all see how I talk to
Listen,
y'all?
He
yeah.
walks the
I talk
walks, but he talks the talk, but can he walk the walk?
No, but I want to acknowledge something you're saying there because it is hard to do.
It's hard.
It's hard to go.
And open up to somebody you don't know, right?
No, I
open
understand
up to
that.
somebody you don't know. Talk
your
about
man
the
talking
hardest
crazy.
things. Talk about the hardest things that we could talk about. It's hard, and that's why I commend people that go to therapy. And you know what? I'm not saying that at any point in your life would you be ready. People, you have to know that you're ready. You have to make the commitment within yourself and say, you know what? Now is time. But you have to want to do it.
So it's not like
You can't
me
push
telling
somebody.
you go do it. You have
It
to
doesn't
really-
matter. It's like, no, you can't. You
Alright,
have to
so-
want to go because you're not. It's putting in work. Another person can't put in work for you. So you have to want to go and put in the work. And if whatever's going on in your life, you're not ready to talk about these things, then therapy is you're not gonna get the best out of it. So yeah, I think that everyone can benefit from it, but at every single point in their life, no, they might not be ready. They might end up going in there and dodging questions or like whatever it
Being
is.
honest.
So you have to want to go. That's why
I-
mandated cases of therapy, it can work, it can help. I've had people that have been mandated by courts, by whatever. It can be helpful, but the ideal situation is you want to go, you're taking yourself.
You gotta-
Because that's when you're going to walk into it open and willing to talk about things.
Alright,
But I had something I wanted to unpack. So
Don't unpack everything.
Yeah, 'cause
So mental health has been a conversation that people are bringing to the forefront in mainstream America more and more in recent months, days, years. We see a lot of people who are public figures openly displaying erratic behavior.
Kanye.
Huh?
Kanye.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
God.
So, based on your, I'm not a psychoanalysis, so I'm gonna defer to you. Based on some of the behaviors you see him displaying in the public eye, would you say it's a potential mental health issue?
Yes,
God,
and
everybody knows that.
he's gone. He went to the hospital for, what sounds like possibly a psychotic episode. And his latest album on Bipolar, it's awesome.
I'm not
Yeah,
over.
that was the cover art.
I hate being bipolar, it's awesome.
It's awesome, yeah.
It was genius for him to say that, because it's mixed messages.
Mhm.
But he's owning it. He's saying, listen, I'm bipolar. I'm figuring out how to work with it. So
I don't know if he's
he's
figuring
been
it out.
on
I know he's
Lexapro. What's that
bipolar.
line when he says, I don't know, he talks about it and it's great. I think it's great because he's bringing it to the forefront. People are talking
You're
about it.
talking about Kanye?
Yeah.
With all that being said, can you just let the people know that you don't support some of his views, but you...
I do not support
Thank you.
some of Kanye's views.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Some of the things he says
It's
are
just not...
just
He needs counseling.
questionable.
He needs therapy for real.
we got a break in here?
No, we don't need a break.
Bro, we're about to be done, bro.
50
What you mean a break
minutes
for
in.
what?
Let's see. What should I?
What you want to unpack? We unpacked everything from here, well, kind of here. We spoke about a little bit about the effect, your childhood could have. I said, I know I got some trauma off that.
I have a question.
What's up?
And to what he said, in mainstream and in our society today, do you believe that mental health should be treated as, let's say, cancer, should be treated as obesity?
Yeah.
Like, because I don't feel that we have mental health at the top of our priorities as a society. You know, you see people commit crimes and he was, you can let him go because that's just how, you know, they don't actually deal with what type of mental health, because it could be depression, it could be bipolarness, it could be anything. But we don't deal with it, especially in the medical field, we don't deal with it as if it was cancer.
And we should.
And we should.
And I don't know if you got that idea, because I recently saw an article that the headline was, it was talking about treating it like a public health crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is.
Yes.
Because it is, like, anxiety, depression, all these things affect people so much. Kids can't pay attention in class. People can't take care of their physical health because of their mental health. It's a part of everyday life, and yeah, I think that we need to talk more about how to deal with stress, relationships, and substances. Yeah.
Good question. Probably falling a little off topic. I don't want my brother come over here and y'all kicking me out and putting him in for me. Because this nigga is talking too good right now, and I'm not
He has some type of intellectual speaking towards him. Yeah.
Y'all about to replace me right now. You gotta go, my brother.
You might as well put him over there to stand with John right now.
Yeah.
At least we got a better insight of you, though.
Yeah, feel me?
No,
Shout out to Gabi's brother, man.
Kind of bouncing off of what you're saying. For instance, a while back I always told Jennings, man, look at the trains during the beginning of the month and towards the end of the month. You know, that's how you know that they don't care about people with mental illness, because what happens to those places, you know, once it hit like the end of the month,
Homeless shelters.
they put those people out. So you see those people on the train. So my whole thing is, this goes to show that we really don't care. Because if we would care, then we would understand that, all right, this person really has a problem. Like, them,
The government doesn't really care.
I
No,
know.
but let me say, we have a housing crisis. We have shelters that get
But
full.
why is that though?
Because of the government.
No, but I'm saying apparently, it's showing that there's a lot of people that need this. You know, that need the attention towards mental health. But yet it seems that the resources is just, I don't know.
Our
It's like
hospitals
scarce?
don't have
I don't
enough
know.
beds.
Yeah.
Our hospitals don't have enough beds, and they're not built to.
Capacity.
They're built to for
But
like
that's
the last when somebody's like
Right.
psychotic or whatever,
Right.
and then they have to take them out, and then the idea is they go into outpatient mental health clinic, but
That
they're
you
not
kinda-
being followed and they're not following up with treatment,
So
so
they
they
get lost.
leave.
Right.
So that was one of my jobs, is I was a caseworker for people with chronic medical conditions and substance abuse that, you know, maybe were addicted, were on methadone,
Yeah.
or, you know.
And some are just abuse it just to get out of it, just to cover shit up.
And what
They're
industry is
suffering.
that in between industry right there? That's in between, you know, hospital and like therapy, where people could just check themselves in and seek help, you know, because they know they have, you know, these whatever the issue is, because maybe they've been seeing a therapist and it's not working, and they need a little more help. They need time away, and maybe they need a facility to check themselves into before they go crazy. Like, what industry is that, or how could we help build up that industry? Because
Well, that's privatized. There's a lot of private places like that, but there are public ones too. And they exist. I'm not saying they don't exist, but the reason that there's a lot of like people out on the streets is because the hospital is not meant to do long-term care unless the person has chronic, is like serious and persistent mental health issue. So that would be a psychiatric hospital where it's more long-term, where they have like a history of violence out in the community or committed crimes, things like that. But what happens is, what about the person that they're not functioning well, but they're not a danger to themselves or others,
Right.
and so, and they're having trouble with housing, they can't function, they can't keep their job. There are a lot of people that, yeah, it's hard. It's hard to keep
or some people, I know some people that have mental health issues that they just can't live with somebody. They can function, they can go to work, they could hold down a job, but that day to day with somebody in you know, living with somebody, that extra step that I'm talking about that you have to take in, like that's the difficult.
What is that extra step?
Like, I mean, like that commitment that you know what I'm saying?
Relating
That
to people in
like
a way
you
that
like at the end of the day, nobody wants to be alone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I know somebody who's been hospitalized, you know, to the you know, for most of their lives, but it's like a functioning type of situation. So now they're a grown adult, they could function, but they cannot have a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
It's
I'm saying?
unfortunate because, yeah,
You know what I'm
what's going
saying?
to happen is they've been isolated for a long time.
Exactly.
They haven't figured out how to have conflict with somebody, but not a conflict that ends the relationship, because conflict is a part of all relationships. But sometimes it feels too overwhelming for some people, and they're like, you know what, no, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to talk about it because it's uncomfortable, so I'm just not going to have any relationships. Which is unfortunate because relationships are what drive us. But I think I mentioned racial microaggressions, and we were talking about masculinity and the pressures that men get, which are they can't talk about feelings or they feel like they can't. The benefit of therapy or talking about the experience as a man in today's society, talking about how being a Black or Latino man on top of that could be really helpful, because Black and Latino men experience racism when they're walking down the street. I mean, we have the numbers, we have the mass incarceration issue. You know, a lot is criminalized that doesn't have to be, and so this experience out in the world adds yet another layer of pressure and difficulty going about in the world. And so talking about that, about the pressure of being a Black man or Latino man, or, you know, whatever ethnicity you are, could be really helpful.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Because definitely, along with like you said, like women could get therapy, white men could get therapy, and we look at that fine as well. You know what I'm saying? But if a Black man or a Latino man gets therapy, they're looked at as weak. Like we don't.
We could talk about the Jay-Z interview then.
Oh.
Yeah, we could
Because
definitely.
Jay-Z talked about this, so
He
he
did.
did a really good interview with the executive editor of the New York Times, I believe.
I
And
watched
it
that.
was a really good interview. You should check it out. But Jay-Z talks about how he benefited from therapy, how his experiences as a Black man, how it was difficult for him, and how talking through it and understanding what was going on within himself, that might have not been about the relationship, but he let it out in the relationship. He's, you know, acting out or whatever.
Your man cheated and he had no choice
So
but
he went to therapy
digressing.
and he started to understand like where that was coming from. You know, how he was still carrying so much of what might have hurt him when he was a child or a teenager, which we've all heard about in his music, but he also went to therapy and it was helpful.
Facts.
And that I love that so much, because he's talking about it openly, and that's a beautiful thing.
Like, that's another thing though. That when I said like people find other means of therapy, like music is a form of therapy, also is boxing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like that has been my driving force. That is
But
always.
only therapy is therapy.
I understand that. And
Yeah. No, but I love that, because you're talking about adaptive and healthy ways to cope with things. Absolutely.
gardening.
So writing lyrics or playing an instrument or playing sports or
Sports, yeah.
whatever it
Sex.
is, these are all healthy
Gardening.
ways.
sex.
These are all healthy ways. Yeah, it's a relationship. So if both adults are consenting and
So,
and it's
both
healthy,
adults are
then it's
consenting.
good, yeah.
So now,
Absolutely, we're sexual beings.
So since we're talking about So we jumped into the relationship. Can you bring up that question that you had?
You asked me a question?
No, mine's is a little like in a loved one or in a relationship. If you see somebody, like maybe I'm in a relationship with somebody and I see that they've gone through some trauma that they haven't dealt with, like, or maybe I haven't. Maybe I'm not sure. Like what stuff can I look for that's gonna trigger, me to say, all right, this person needs to seek help, or what line. Do is it that is like, all right, now you're not only dealing with something, but you need to seek help. Like those other alternative music and writing and sex is not working. You need to seek therapy. And then how do you go about it? Because somebody may get offended by you saying you need to seek therapy. Like that person may think that they are perfectly fine. They're successful in society. They're doing everything. Their family loves them. Their kid loves them, or whatever. But you see something that they're not dealing with. You know what I'm saying? How do you go about, or
you can acknowledge and validate that they're having a hard time with things. You could say that, like, I've noticed that you maybe have a jumpy or a quick reaction to things that might not be about that situation. It might be about something you've gone through, and maybe you don't want to talk about it with me, but there's, you could benefit from talking to somebody about it, because it sounds like it's weighing heavy on you. It sounds like it's affecting you in a way, and it sounds like it's hard.
right?
So you could say that you want to validate that it's that it's complicated for them.
So you look for ways to show them that they're going through something, at least.
Yeah.
At the very
least you want to validate a person's experience, because if you're watching a loved one having that kind of situation and struggling through things, you want to acknowledge it. You don't want to just brush it off.
And also don't bash them.
Don't bash them. It has to be from a place of love that it's coming from, right, and compassion.
Right.
Yeah, so
because if it's coming at a moment, where there's an argument and you say it in a way that's like gonna hurt, and you're just saying like
it's just gonna be hurtful.
It's gonna be painful.
Right.
So it's about timing. With a lot of these hard conversations, it's about timing, and it's about the approach, and we want to approach it.
And then yeah, like you said, like you when you brought up if you're under your parents' insurance, how do you know, like, if as a parent you put your child through some trauma, right? Like I remember that's one of the reasons I was turned off from therapy, because my parents felt like, oh yeah, we went through a divorce, you should go seek therapy, and I was like, I'm fine, I'm good. Like I'm alright, y'all not together, it's cool. What I need therapy for, like, that shit happens every day. Like none of my friends got their mothers and fathers. Like why I'm gonna go see a therapist? And I knew that though. I had that in my mind that, all right, maybe I need to, maybe this is gonna affect me some type of way. And I just dealt with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but any kind of disruption in the family, it doesn't even have to be a divorce. It could be the family moves away, the family immigrated. Like, I'm an immigrant. I know that affected me in a way. Like, it doesn't have to just be divorce, or, things happen, and they can be hard for a child to understand, and so to grasp. Because as adults, we look back on it and we're like, oh, it makes sense. Two grown adults, the relationship isn't working. It's going to be better for both of them to not be together. But as a child, you don't have that understanding.
Because you're so used to seeing them together all
Your
the time.
foundation is being
Your
shaken.
foundation is rocked, because then, like, you don't see them as much as you did, and you're trying to make sense of, like, oh, why is that not
You're so used to a pattern that when the pattern's different,
it takes
you're
an
all over the
investment.
place right after that.
Yeah.
I have a
from
question.
seeing my pops every day to not seeing that nigga for months, and the nigga lived in the Heights. I lived on 193rd, nigga lived on 184.
Damn,
That's
that's close.
confusing.
You could just walk there if
That's
anything.
My dad. But sometimes it's a good thing and it's a bad thing, because when I'm in a relationship, the reason I get dumped is because I don't show no emotion. Like I don't do the cuddling. I don't do the cuddling and stuff. Like girls love flowers.
Aww, like all that.
I'm not the type to be out of nowhere get a girl like that's
You
just.
can't get no girl some flowers.
It's just not.
That's
You
the least.
Let him
I
unpack. Let
feel
him
you,
unpack
but
this
it's just,
Yo,
it's not me. I
bro.
don't
He
show.
unpack too much.
I don't
Yeah,
show. I don't really like show emotions. Like
Listen, that's the thing is that
I ain't gonna
when
hold
we're
to
in
you.
relationships,
That flower shit's kind of
the
true.
way we relate to people
And my
is
mom done
emotional.
told me about the
But
flower
that's it
shit.
right
So
there.
if that's missing in a person, then what are we gonna relate to them on? It's gonna be hard. So emotions
you
is
know
what
it.
ties
You
us
know
all
right
I'm
there.
not
together.
emotional.
You
like
don't show
like
emotions.
my kid's mother.
Anti-social social.
She can't stand me because I'm emotionless. Like I'm just.
You're not.
Exactly.
You just don't choose to show them.
Yeah.
You're exactly.
Nobody is
You
emotionless.
always do this, bro.
As human beings, we're
You have the
wired.
emotions, bro.
We're
We
wired
like that.
to be to have emotions.
Your
If we
emotions
didn't
not
have
showing
them,
it,
listen,
basically.
They're helpful
Basically.
for us. If we're
Basically.
walking
You
down
put
the
barriers
street,
in front of
let
everything.
me talk about fear for a second. If we're walking down the street and there's a threat and we're afraid, that's helpful, right? We need emotions. We needed it back then, back in the day, to survive. Like, if we saw a bear, if you don't feel afraid, what's going to tell you to run? Nothing.
Right.
Emotions are important for us. They tell us what we need.
You do couple stuff.
That was good. I ain't
Yeah.
even front that.
So we need our
That
feelings,
was-
and it's
She hit a
data
whole
and
bunch
it's
bars today.
information.
That was heavy.
Son barras.
It's information for us to understand what's going on and what we need. So if we can understand it, then we can unpack what's going on.
I just feel like you showed us mad love by giving us a free therapy session because I.
Word.
Facts.
You know
That's
what?
only right.
Let me say,
We
I have
definitely
lot of
just had a
respect.
therapy session.
I took
think
in
this
so
is
much shit
really
she said. I'm like, wow.
Hey, she's talking. Yo.
We're closing it up, so I just want
Go,
to say
nah,
you
I
close
think
it up,
this
you
is
close it
cool. This is a really cool project you got going on. I respect it. I like that you're talking about people's stories. You want to understand how people, how they got ahead in their careers. They're coming back and they're telling you how they struggled through things because everyone's always struggling through
No,
something, right?
but sorry to cut her
And
off, but I don't think we got into how she got into this.
Oh, how did I get into this?
Well, and we need a question from Gabi's brother
And we're
too.
gonna bring it.
So-
So this we gotta put obviously. Gotta edit it.
I always liked talking to people. I remember being in elementary school and my friends they would be coming to me to talk about things. They would always call me Mama Bella because I was like the mom.
You're the matriarch.
Yeah. So
You're the master.
I always just
like that.
enjoyed it. And then in high school I took an elective in psychology and I fell in love with it. So then I got a bachelor's in psychology.
Where?
Montclair State University.
Oh, Sean,
And then Jersey. I'm from Newark, by the way.
You're from the hood.
Rough streets with Newark,
From
Yeah.
the hood.
I know Newark.
Not from the Ironbound side.
My brother took me to a
It's
strip
different
club in
level.
Newark.
Oh, we
man. That
digressing,
shit was
we
crazy.
digressing.
Okay, so then I got a master's degree in social work. And I'm here. And I love what I do.
That's dope. That's the.
Thank you. I feel very lucky. I feel very lucky that I could do what I love, and I like having conversations like this with people because there's a lot that people don't understand about therapy, and so they might benefit
Listen,
from.
And it's conversations we don't have.
I
We're
learned
scared to have.
a lot today about
Yeah.
myself.
I'm happy.
So,
Unfortunately, because somebody was here,
I learned a lot about you too.
because somebody was
There you
here.
go,
After.
brother.
oh, no, she said she.
She answered.
Oh yeah.
Y'all learned a lot about me that y'all probably didn't know where it came from. And I just want to know. Well, not you bird ass
I
nigga,
know.
because you already know me.
I studied.
But, I just want to give my brother a shout out for being
Big
here.
shout
No,
Big shout out. Big shout out.
And let
Shout
me
out
know.
to our guy SB too, man.
You already, man. I'm always here for y'all, man.
SB.
But let
You
me
ain't know, man.
I didn't even know about myself. He knew more shit about me than I knew about myself.
But you also gotta understand, what something that I've learned and I'm noticing because of the head injury. A lot of stuff when I was younger, I kind of blocked off. For instance, like my brother's cancer. From a certain point, I forgot, being in the hospital and all that other stuff. But as time went on, especially after the head injury, I remember those moments, clearly. So Gabby, the reason why I say that is because sometimes shit happens to us when we're younger, and we sometimes tend to kind of like block that off and like put it in behind our brain and tend to say the shit never happened.
We're just not conscious of it.
Not conscious of it.
And also, being
That must have been hard for you.
being
That's
the
big.
and also it's like different for me because I'm the baby in the family. I'm spoiled.
Still look like it.
You feel me? Like my family, I'm the favorite at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Heard
You
you.
have a brother that disagrees.
He disagrees all
He kept
100%.
He knows that I am the favorite in my family. I'm the golden child.
You're the golden
Yes,
child.
I am the golden
Okay.
So
child.
get to the question.
But
So
Big
we got a
Bro had
question
something
now?
he had to
Yeah,
say.
Big Bro had something to say,
Let
man.
him say
What's
what
up?
he gotta say.
What's
'Cause
up?
I want to know what he gotta say about this. Cause I'll call my grandma in heaven right now and ask her who was your favorite grandson.
Heard
I'm
you.
not gonna discuss who was the favorite, but to that note, before my grandmother died, the last plate that she left served on the table was my plate before she went to the hospital and she passed away.
So
God
you
bless
already
her
know.
soul.
So you
You
already know.
understand? So that's all that has
Love
to
doesn't
say.
have limits.
Hey,
You
you
can
know what
love
I'm
more than
saying?
one of
You
them.
know, I'm the favorite. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, Big Bro, what was you gonna say?
So what I wanted to say was like when if he allows me first of all to say what I gotta say. 'Cause
Nigga,
it's
say I don't
about
give a shit.
So it's like when we were younger, a lot of things occurred, you know, in the household before he even arrived at the household. You understand me?
Right, right.
So a lot of things that he didn't get to see, we had already seen, you know. So, but growing up, I'm very emotional with my mother. You know, a lot of things that she does and that she doesn't do and that she says bothers me. But it doesn't bother him at all. Like that shit, yes, flows off of his shoulder if you had a naked eye. But I don't have a naked eye. I know that it just doesn't roll off his shoulders. You understand me? You know, because we lived it. When he was born, my mother was going through something very personal with herself. So Gabby, when he came out the hospital, Gabby went straight to my aunt's house. Gabby never went to my mom's house. Gabby from the hospital never went home. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So he has that special protection around him
Right.
that we didn't have.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And the reason why I love my brother, and to this day, my girlfriends and my wife now, they be like, yo, but your brother's a dick.
Sounds
You
about
feel me?
right.
Sounds about
Your
right.
brother's a dick. You know? Like why? Yo, you know he be, you know you be trying to talk to him about shit and he don't care about it. And you know it's cool because to me it's cool because I accept
You're so
everybody
used to it, that's
as
why.
who they are.
Yeah.
You understand? You know, I ask my wife, you know, she gets mad, and if she sees it, she's gonna get even more mad. Not if, when she sees it, she's gonna get even more mad. You know, I know my wife for 9 years. I known Gabby for 30 years. You understand? And no matter the dirtbag shit that Gabby does,
Or the dirtbag that he is.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
or the
Shout out to
ratero
Gabby.
shit that he does,
Niggas hot.
yeah, that's
it.
Gabby, that's my brother.
That's
To
famous.
this day, when he come to the crib, not to this day because this Thanksgiving, I promised myself I wouldn't do it. I would serve him his food. Cause that's my little brother.
Yeah.
And
You
I
feel
always
me?
get my food
He's
served.
to me,
Word, me
he's
too,
not
bro.
me. You know, ain't nobody like me. I'm better than everybody. But my brother's supposed to be better than me because he's a younger generation and he has to
Exactly.
learn from me.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So my brother knows all of that. You feel me? So I gotta make sure that he knows that. So my wife and my past girlfriends, they never understood my relationship.
Just one of them.
He don't appreciate. He don't know what you went through. He don't know this. He takes it for granted what y'all went through growing up. But what they don't know is that he didn't go through it. You feel me? He didn't experience it. You understand me? It didn't hit him direct, like I said earlier. You know, it hit him indirectly because everybody's action affects the whole circle.
Yeah.
Because what one person did to me is gonna affect 100 people because the way I'm gonna react to that situation again. You understand? So it affects multiple people, multiple circles. So when he says like I don't care, it's not because it's that he don't care. It's because I went through it. Like Hov said, I went through it. So you won't have to go through that.
Right.
Amen. You feel me?
Boss.
You feel me? So I just wanted to throw that out there, and that's for everybody to understand. When they talk about, oh, my mentality is I don't give a fuck. Now, it's not that you don't give a fuck. You really give a fuck. Because if you didn't give a fuck, it wouldn't even be on your brain to say that you didn't give a fuck. I used to think back then, when people used to tell me that, you don't know what you're talking about, but I understand that clearly. You know? And it's a blessing that she came in here because she, like y'all said, she gave us free therapy session in here.
Big
and
fan.
I
Thank you
appreciate
for having
it.
me.
That's what I do.
Big
Thank
fan.
you.
It's a pleasure. It's been really good talking to you guys.
I connect the dots.
You had
So
good questions.
it's a wrap.
It's a
I
wrap.
think I have no more questions.
Not now, not right now.
So again, man, now that
You
we
good, bro,
wrapping it
trust me.
up, we had it. We had a good one, and then 360 as always. But hey, nonetheless, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. You know, coming
Thanks
from
for
work,
having me.
chilling with a bunch of nobodies. I apologize if we was a little reckless. You know, this is
A little raunchy.
this is
No,
us.
this
is us. You already knew what you was expecting. I'm sure I don't know to you
Yeah, it
about
was
me.
good.
So you know when the Henny's in the what?
He's in the system.
Ain't no
Ain't
telling.
no telling.
And that
Ain't
is
no
a
telling.
Hey
Now.
now. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Listen to some of that.
I've been going for like the past year and some change, and it's absolutely changed my life. It's just like going to the gym, you know what I mean? I always say that it's like, you know, if you got a closet and your closet is like mad junky, and you know how like you go in your closet and, you know, you start...
Gotta Marie Kondo that.
Yeah, you start organizing stuff, you start packing up stuff that you don't need, and you give that away, and you make room for the stuff that you want to keep and make room for new
Yeah,
stuff.
but like I feel
That's
like-
what therapy is.
Okay.